Kohalallim, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakakadash, Obrakatom. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS. Shalom to the whole elect. It's a little brother here, Shema Shawan, with another video. Alright, and today's video, I wanted to continue my Assyrians. This is part 2. Alright, the first part was mainly about Assyrian history, Slovakia, origins, etc. Now we're going to go into middle of the history. I'm going to middle to late history, Neo-Assyrian Empire, and kind of break down, how the Assyrians put our people in captivity. Okay. All right. So this is 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 1. All right. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughters of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and Hittites. All right. Solomon had many concubines, varying races. All right. Pharaoh, of course, Hamites, Mitzrayim, all right, or how they say in this fake corrupted Hebrew, Mitzrayim. Okay, those were Hamites. All right. Moabites are Chinese, Ammonites, Japanese, Edomites are your so-called white man, Zidonians. Zidonians are the people in Tyre, Zidon. All right, these are also Hamites, Canaanites. Hittites are also Canaanites. All right, I'm pretty sure also Canaanites, Hamites. Of the nations concerning which the Lord said unto the children of Israel, you shall not go in unto them, nor shall they come in unto you, for surely they would turn away your hearts after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. See, with these other nations, and you make them as concubines, you're not supposed to be loving them up, giving them all your full attention. All right. When we took spoils of the woman, we treated the woman as if they were meat, bags of meat, which is what they are. All right. These other nations' women, they're merely bags of meat. You're not supposed to be going and get into it with them. All right. You're supposed to have it and treat them for what they are, a piece of flesh, a piece of, you know what I mean? All right. Solomon did not sin having sex with other heathen women, all right, and popping them and making them concubines. He sinned by following their gods and so-called, getting too deep into them, and he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines, and his wives turned away his heart. Not his wives, all right, his concubines. Okay, his woman. Let's look into that word, wives. Isa. Don't tell me he's lagging again. Something's wrong with my computer. Fuck. Maybe I should turn off the video camera. Alright, made that. See that work? Let's see here. Let's delete it. See if that fixes it. Because if it's lagging again, I'm gonna be pissed off, man. Because last time I lost an entire worth of video content. So Isa, I'm not gonna bother trying to break that down, but I believe that's off, if I'm not mistaken. So woman, wife, female. Woman, opposite of man, female. It's not wife, it's his woman. His woman turned away his heart. All right, not his wife. You can have wives of heathen women. Not wives, concubines of heathen women. You can have sex with them. You just can't be following after their gods. All right, or trying to wife up these other heathens and trying to put them on a pedestal. All right. Verse 4. It came to pass when Solomon, put any woman on a pedestal for that matter. Verse 4. For it came to pass when Solomon was old, his wife turned away his heart after other gods, and his heart was not perfect, upright, with the Lord his power, as was the heart of David his father. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and at the Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. And I believe these all go back to Canaanites. All goes back to that ancient fucking Babylonian bullshit. Ashtoreth, I believe it goes back to Ishtar, I'm pretty sure. Alright, let's see here. Ashtoreth, Star, also Ishtar of Assyria, and Astarte by the Greeks and Romans, the principal female deity of the Phoenicians, worshipped in war and fertility. Alright, this is like their fertility goddess. Alright. Then did Solomon build a high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of Ammon. I'm going to skip down a little bit. Verse 14. And the Lord sought up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was of the king's seed in Edom. For it came to pass when David was in Edom, and Joab the captain of the host was gone up to bury the slain, after he had banned every man, after he had smitten every male in Edom. All right. Yeah, I'm actually gonna skip down. I think First Kings chapter 4, 11. Oh yeah, did I skip something? What was I reading? Oh, I read 14. I want to go to 11. Salakia. All right, verse 11. All right. Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done unto thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and will give it to thy servant. And that servant is his son, Rehoboam. All right, we're going to read that in verse 12. Notwithstanding in thy days, I will not do it for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. After he died, after King Solomon died, then he divided the kingdom. When you rend something, it just merely means to divide. Let's just look up the word rend. No. Rend. Tear something into two or more pieces. Wrench something violently. Cause great emotional pain to well, and that's not it. But it means to rip something in two. Like I rent I just want to rent the branch out the tree, or I rent this paper in half, or you know what I mean. Verse 11, right? No, 12. Notwithstanding in thy days, I will not do it for David thy father's sake, but I'll rend it out of the hand of thy son. That son is Rehoboam. All right. Howbeit, I will not rend away all the kingdom, but I'll give one tribe to thy son for David, my servant's sake, and one for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen. Okay, which once again is Rehoboam. All right, and this is going to something else. This is the Hadad and the bullshit he's gonna pull. The mischief. And Lord stood up an adversary unto Solomon. Hadad the Edomite. He was of the king's seed in Edom. All right, and this is 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 13. Right, it's talking about King David. All right, King David's son. Actually, I'm gonna go to verse 12. Okay, when thy days be fulfilled, once again, King David. When thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I'll establish his kingdom. All right. Let's keep reading on. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Okay, it's talking about Solomon. All right, but on a deeper level, establish his throne, the throne of his kingdom forever. Solomon's throne wasn't established forever. All right, this is talking about Yahushai. Okay, this is talking about Yahushai on a deeper level. Okay, because Solomon's kingdom did not last forever. It was rent. It was divided. Okay, when you read about Daniel chapter 7, okay, or all throughout Revelation, okay, how the rulership and dominion was given unto him, unto a man with woolly hair and skin like burnt bronze. All right, is that talking about Solomon back then? No, this is talking about Solomon, the reincarnation as Yahushai. All right, established the throne of his kingdom forever. All right, King Solomon's throne was not established forever. Okay, it's talking about something else. This is prophecy. Okay. Um, that was pretty much what I want on that. I'm gonna go down a little bit more. Yeah, yeah. So once again, the son here is Rehoboam. Uh, and Rehoboam means my my people are enlarged. Let's look at Rehoboam. This is Solomon's son. So it's a prophecy that the nation will be rent, and part of the kingdom will be given to Rehoboam. All right, Solomon's son, and he would have Jerusalem. Solomon's son would have control of Jerusalem. My people has enlarged. All right, son of Solomon and the first king of Judah after the split of the kingdom of Israel. And we're gonna go into that a little bit later on. All right, Rehoboam. All right, yep. First Kings 11 and 43. And Solomon set out with his fathers and was buried in the city of David his father, and Rehoboam his son reigned in his stead. Okay, just just proof. You know, because you Edomites out there, you like to make up your stories, and you know you can't go against it. All right, all right. So this is First Kings chapter 11 and 26. And Jeroboam the son of Nebat, an Ephrathite of Zereda, Solomon's servant, whose mother's name was Zeruiah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against the king. And this was the cause he lifted up his hand against the king. All right. Solomon built Millo and repaired the breaches of the city of David his father. Okay, why did Jeroboam rebel? All right, this is pretty much the account of why Jeroboam rebelled. All right, Solomon was rebuilding the city. All right, and was rebuilding the city of David his father. And the main Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor. I remember he's an Ephraimite. He's from Ephraim. And the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor. And Solomon, seeing the young man that he was industrious, he made him a ruler. He made him ruler over all the house of Joseph. All right, and Ephraim goes back to Joseph. We can go into that story. I don't think I'm going to, but there's a story in Genesis when Jacob was blessing Manasseh and Ephraim. Jacob chose Ephraim, the younger brother, and said that he wanted to make him greater than his brother. All right, so Ephraim became the tribe of Joseph. All right, so Jeroboam. All right, I'm not going to try to break that down in Hebrew, but it's Jeroboam. The people will contend. All right, I think they call it nomen omen. When names have a kind of foretelling of a future event. The first king of the northern kingdom of Israel, when it split at the death of Solomon, and the 10 tribes split off from Judah and Benjamin, and the kingdom under Solomon's son Rehoboam, idolatry was introduced at the beginning of his reign. Let me read that again. Jeroboam, the first king of the northern kingdom of Israel, when this kingdom split at the death of Solomon, and the 10 tribes split off from Judah and Benjamin, and the kingdom under Solomon's son Rehoboam, idolatry was introduced at the beginning of his reign. All right, this is not what this is talking about. No, it's hey, my people will contend. Um, let's go back into it. And it came to pass what verse 29. It came to pass at the time when Jeroboam went out of Jerusalem that the prophet Ahijah the Shilonite found him in the way, and he had clad himself with a new garment, and they too were alone in the field. Ahijah is an Israelite. All right, verse 30. And Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him and rent it in 12 pieces. The 12 pieces represent the 12 tribes of Israel. And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces, for thus saith the Lord, the God of Israel, the power of Israel, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and I will give 10 tribes unto thee. Okay? The other two, Judah and Benjamin, went to Rehoboam. Okay? And Levi never really had land in all of Israel. He had suburbs in various parts. He was kind of spread out on the northern kingdom and in the southern kingdom. All right. Verse 32. Yeah, We shall one tribe for my servant David's sake and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. And then verse 33 on down is just going into the sin of Solomon and why the kingdom had to be rent. And we're going to get another account on this. Let me look at my notes real quick and see if yeah, that was all I wanted to bring out on that. So this is an account, pretty much another version of this. If I didn't say it already, this account took place in around 930 BC after the death of Solomon. All right, so this is Halley's Bible Handbook by H. Halley. Zondervan, I think Zondervan is a publisher. All right, and this is page 193, 1 Kings chapter 12, division of the kingdom. I know I read verse 11, but I'm reading the caption on the chapter 12. Okay, division of the kingdom. The kingdom had lasted 120 years. Solomon 40 years, David 40 years, Solomon 40 years. After the death of Solomon, the kingdom was divided. 10 tribes forming the northern kingdom called Israel, Judah and Benjamin forming the southern kingdom called Judah. The northern kingdom lasted a little over 200 years and was destroyed by Assyria, 721 BC. The southern kingdom lasted a little over 300 years and was destroyed by Babylon about 600 BC. And that's all I wanted on that. But as I said, around 930 BC was when this took place. All right, and that's all I really wanted on that. All right, it's the 2 Kings chapter 17, and yeah, we're just gonna go and start off from the beginning. In the 12 years of Ahaz, king of Judah, and the rule of Ahaz, all right, in the 12th year during the reign of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hosea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. So now we just went over how northern and southern kingdom were split, right? And northern kingdom became known as Israel, and the southern kingdom became known as Judah. Okay, so this is talking about a king of Israel, king of the northern kingdom. All right. Once again, going back to prophecy, Ephraim became the ruler of the northern kingdom, just like Judah is the ruler of the southern. Hosea, salvation, the 19th and last king of the northern kingdom, Israel. All right. Yeah, last king of Israel. And it means salvation. If I didn't say it already, Hawashai. Same name as Joshua. Many other, son of Isaiah, Israelite chief, son of Beri. Various people, Hawashai, and the names come up over and over and over again. All right, so verse 2. He did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but now as the kings of Israel that were before him. All right, he in a conspiracy had Pekah killed and had himself, the last king, the king before him, he had the king before him killed Pekah and had himself inserted into the throne. All right. Verse 3. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hosea became his servant and gave him presents. All right, this Shalmaneser the fifth, son of Tiglath-Pileser the third. All right, once again, king of Assyria. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hosea, for he had sent messengers to So, king of Egypt, the Pharaoh, and brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. All right. I want to get a small, quick account real quick on that. Just on that particular point. I don't want to, inundate and bring out too much at one time, So this is Halley's Bible Handbook, page 208. At the bottom, archaeological note: Hosea slew Pekah and reigned in his stead. Hosea brought tribute to the king of Assyria. All right. So that's 15 and 30. Let's go to it real quick. Yeah. So, and Hosea the son of Elah made a conspiracy against Pekah the son of Ramilah, and smote him and slew him and reigned in his stead in the 12th year of Jotham, the son of Uzziah. All right. So he had made a conspiracy and had Pekah killed, which was the ruler before him. Okay. But back again, Halley's Bible Handbook, page 208. An inscription of Tiglath-Pileser says, Pekah, their king they had overthrown. I placed Hosea over them. From him I received 10 talents of gold and 1,000 talents of silver. Alright, that just explains for itself. And that goes to show you that they had weights back then. Money had weight. Alright, gold was the money. Alright, it's not like our funny American funny dollars we had today, where they could just print them out. You know, but this Tiglath-Pileser has to be Tiglath-Pileser III. Alright, it can't be any other Tiglath-Pileser. Alright, once again, Tiglath-Pileser III is the father of Shalmaneser V, which is the king that's being talked about in this time period. Okay, so Shalmaneser V put Hosea in prison. Okay, verse 5. Then the king of Assyria came up through all the land and went to Assyria and besieged it 3 years. All right. So Shalmaneser V took down, Samaria. And Samaria was the headquarters of the northern kingdom of Israel. Okay, and he besieged it and took them down. Verse 6. In the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away to Assyria and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river Gozan and the cities of the Medes. All right, so the northern kingdom was removed out of the land of Samaria, out of their land, and placed in another land, placed in by the river of Gozan. Let's see here where that's it. Well, they carried away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and Habor. So they took the northern kingdom away and put them in Assyria, into their cities. Well, let's look and see where exactly these places are. Halah and Habor. Computer is lagging today. What is going on, man? What is going on today? All right. Halah, painful, a city or district in Mesopotamia under Assyrian control where the Israelite captives were taken. So he took them, to that area by the, Euphrates, Tigris, that entire area, that region, to the Syrian region, Mesopotamia. Habor, joining, a tributary of the Euphrates River in Assyria. So once again, took them to that Syrian, Babylonian, Mesopotamia region, that entire region. Okay. It's good to look in where these places are, help you kind of have an idea. Oh, they took them down there. All right. And we're going to skip verse 7. This is just telling you why Israel fell, for their heresy. We're going to skip down a little bit here. If I didn't bring it up already, the king of Assyria here, right? So then the kingdom of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and Habor by the river Gozan and in the cities of the Medes. The Medes of Japheth, by the way. I didn't even go into the river Gozan. But Shalmaneser V, he died before the 3 years that it took to besiege Assyria. So Shalmaneser died before Assyria was fully besieged, and his son Sargon II took the reins of his father. Okay, Shalmaneser the fifth. I thought I said Shalmaneser. So let me say that again. All right, Shalmaneser V died before Samaria was fully conquered. His son Sargon II took over and finished the besieging of Samaria. All right, and I have an account on that. So this is once again Halley's Bible Handbook, page 208. Archaeological note: Captivity of Israel. The king of Assyria besieged Samaria 3 years and took it, and carried Israel away, and brought men from Babylon and placed them in the cities of Samaria. An inscription of Sargon, page 287. In my first year, I captured Samaria. I took captive 27,290 people, people of other lands who never paid tribute. I settled in Samaria. Okay? That's what they're talking about. He's saying that this is Sargon himself, Sargon II, who took over from his father, Shalmaneser V. He said that he captured Samaria. He took captive the Israelites in that territory, 27,000 people, and then he put, people of other areas in there. And we're going to go over that. All right, but back again, verse 6 again. All right, so this is Sargon II now. Shalmaneser V is dead. This is Sargon II now. In the 9th year of Hosea, the king of Assyria took Samaria. Sargon II took Samaria and carried Israel away into Samaria and placed them in Halah and Habor, all right, by the Tigris and Euphrates River, by the river Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes. Let's look at Gozan. And Gozan. What is Gozan? Cutting off the Mesopotamian city on or near the middle of the Euphrates where exiled Israelites were settled. Once again, Tigris Euphrates area. In the cities of the Medes. And the Medes, Persian and the Medes, they were settled in that area as well. I believe a little bit southeast, the Medes are Japhetic. And let's go down a little bit to verse 23. I don't know why I have 11. Yeah, let's just go down to 23. So, verse 23, till the Lord removed Israel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants and prophets, so Israel was carried away out of their land to Assyria unto this day. All right, and we're going to go into that later on. They actually moved out of that area. Slakia came to America. All right, those northern kingdoms, are the Hispanics today, if you didn't know. So this is the book of Psalms, chapter 17, verse 13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. All right, the wicked started with Esau Edom, which is the Most High's sword, it's his whooping stick. All right, the Most High will use Edom and these other nations to carry us away into the various captivities to teach us a lesson. Okay? Because when you go into it, the northern kingdom, they followed the sins of Jeroboam, and when you go into Jeroboam's account, the account of Jeroboam's heresy, he pretty much made 2 golden calves, similar to what Aaron did, saying, look, Israel, this is your new God. This is the God that took you out of Egypt. This is the God that took you out of Egypt. Remember? Let's follow these gods. All right, so Jeroboam was leading the people away into heresy. Okay, and he was punished for it. So he lost his rulership. His line lost his rulership. And eventually, his people was taken out of that land and put in Assyria. Okay, so they got punished, just like all Israel got punished. All right, northern and southern kingdom. All right, this is just a learning experience. So verse 24, and the king of Assyria once again, Sargon II, brought men from Babylon, from Cutha, from Eva, from Hamath, from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria, and said the children of Israel, and they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. All right. When you go into Hamath, Kufta, all these various areas, we don't gotta look into every single one. It may take a little bit long. I don't want to make the video too long, but those are various areas around Syria. All right, so various Syrian peoples. All right, and Syria once again goes back to Shem. Assyrian controlled areas in Syria, all right, in that Syrian area. All right, so you had Syrians, Shemites, you had this other Assyrians, coming from ashore, some of these people coming from Babylon, all right, so Cushites, various Hamites, All right, because that's where that whole Babylon came from. It's Cush. All right, Nimrod was a Cushite. All right, the Syrians are Shore. All right, and now I want to look again on where did Syria come from? Which person started Assyria? Who started Assyria? Let's see, Aram. Yeah, I believe it is actually Aram. The Aram, the son of Shem. Yeah, Elam and Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. All right, Aram is where you get Syria from, and Ashur is where you get Assyria from. All right, which was originally called Ashur. All right, the capital was originally called Ashur, and then they changed it to Nineveh. And in Aram, eventually created Syria. Okay, so what you got here, various heathen nations, mostly from Shem. All right, and you also got Hamites as well. All right, verse 34. Actually, before I go on to that, right? I said before, Sargon II took the Israelites out. The Israelites are now in Assyria. All right, the northern kingdom Israelites are now in Assyria. If I didn't say it before, Levi was intermixed among some of the northern kingdom, but also in the southern kingdom. Okay, so not all Levi left out. All right. When you go into it, you know, um, you had uh, the northern kingdom was kicked out and was put into the Syria around the Tigris Euphrates area. All right, and these various Syrian tribes, Syrian peoples, Assyrians, Aram, Syrian peoples out of Aram, the line of Aram, as well as Hamites, etc. Why am I here on this page? All right, various people, heathens were brought in, so the Israelites are gone now, and these various heathen tribes, heathen peoples, were put into Samaria. All right, so that's why when you read John chapter 4, and it talks about Yahweh Shah rebuking the Samaritan woman, that's where it comes from. All right, those heathens were put into our territory. All right, our people were removed, and heathens were put in. I want to get another account in real quick. This is Hallie's Bible Handbook, page 209. Actually, I'm gonna read the same account before. In the archaeological notes, a description of Sargon II says, "In my first year I captured Samaria. I took captive 27,290 people from other lands who never paid tribute. I settled in Samaria." So people that never paid him tribute, people from Assyrian-controlled land, he placed them into the entire northern kingdom area. Okay. Then you go down to page 209, Assyria. Assyrian policy was to deport conquered people to other lands to destroy their sense of nationalism and make them more easily subject. All right, these Edomites, they took that that kind of they took that tip from them. Okay, because they took us out of our lands and they put us in other places. All right, especially to the southern kingdom. Yeah, but they also did it to the northern kingdom. They displaced you out of your land and put you somewhere else, or possibly put you among people where you people don't speak the same language, and they do that to subject you, to make you, feel alienated, so that you're easier to subdue. All right, so along with Esau, Edom, with this country, America being modern day Babylon, it's also modern day Assyria. All right. Assyrian policy was to deport conquered people to other lands to destroy their sense of nationalism and make them more easily subject. Assyrians were great warriors. Most nations then were robber nations. Assyrians seem to have been the worst of them all. They builded their state on the loot of other peoples. They practiced cruelty. They skinned their prisoners alive, or cut off their hands, feet, noses, ears, or put out their eyes, or pulled out their tongues, and made mounds of human skulls to inspire terror. And that's all I wanted to get on that. The Northern Kingdom were going through it, and we're going to read about it later on, how they left that area and came down to Arzareth, which is America. Okay, a land where no man, never man dwelt. This is 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 25. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there that they feared not the Lord. Therefore the Lord sent lions among them and slew some of them. Okay, to slew these heathens, these Assyrians, these Cushites, heathens. Wherefore they spake to the king of Syria, Sargon II, saying, the nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the God of the land. Therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, he slay them, because they know not the God, the manner of the God of the land. Exactly. These heathens don't know the Most High. All right, they don't know how the Most High work. All right, the Most High got nothing to do with these heathens. Nothing to do with them. Okay, these heathens are not chosen. They're not of the chosen line. All right, Israel is the chosen line. All right. Come on. All right, so this is Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 2. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy power, and the Lord hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself above all the nations that are upon the earth. All right, these heathens, all right, they're not chosen. All right, so that's why the Most High isn't dealing with them. All right, he's just sending lions just to kill them and eat them up. All right, that's a sign. All right, these heathens, they don't understand. All right, it's only today where these heathens are trying to push and kind of nudge their way in. Try to like a train door, right? The train door trying to close, and they trying to weasel the way in. Trying to crawl inside the train. All right, well they're not welcome here. All right, because this isn't their book. All right, it's not talking about them. It ain't dealing with them. Okay. So this is 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 27. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom he brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach them the manner of the God of the land. So they brought a Levite. Once again, as I said before, Levi was scattered amongst the southern kingdom as well as the northern kingdom. It's possible. We also had Simeonites. I believe Simeon was in Judah. I was in the area of Judah. You got some northern kingdom sprinkled among the southern kingdom. All right, so this is deep. Man, you possibly had some Judites down up in the northern kingdom. Who knows? We were just one people. We just dwelt. Some of us dwelt there, some of us dwelt there, but verse 26. Wherefore they spake to the king of Syria, actually, Slaki, verse 27. Then the king of Syria, Sargon II, commanded, saying, carry thither one of the priests whom he brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let them teach the manner of the God of the land. So he got a Levite. He hired a Levite. Verse 28. Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear the Lord. Alright, let's look up Bethel. I know Bethel's in the northern kingdom. I think it's Beth Allah, Bayath Allah, house of God. Yeah, Bayath Allah, house of God. Ancient place to see the worship in Ephraim on the border of Benjamin. Identified with Luz's former name. Place in south country of Judah, not far from Beersheba and Ziklag. So, just on the border of Ephraim. Alright, they say Palestine. No. Alright. Yeah, verse 28. Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria and dwelt in Bethel, Bayat Allah, and taught them how they should fear the Lord. Verse 29. Howbeit every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places which the Samaritans have made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. Okay, so wherein they dwelt. There's something I want to pull up on that. And as I said before, yeah, peculiar people. I just looked up peculiar people, and these are just all the scriptures that pop up. First Peter chapter 2, verse 9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who have called you out of the darkness into his marvelous light. All right, who called us out of that darkness? All right, Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Okay. Uh, Exodus chapter 19, verse 5. Now therefore, if you obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. Alright? This is the Most High. Most High speaking. Okay, if we keep the Most High's commandments, alright, as Israelites, okay, then we'll be a peculiar people. Okay? Unto himself, above all people, which we are going to be above all people because the saints are going to take the dominion and take the kingdom, and will rule over all nations of the earth. Okay? But during our journeys, we committed heresies, we broke the commandments, and we were punished. We got our asses beat. Okay? And we got another ass whooping in slavery. Okay? When the prophets were dead, the two witnesses were dead, we were spiritually dead in a dead state. But when Yahweh Shai opened up the seals of the book and brought Elijah the prophet back, as if you can receive it, Abba Bivens, we slowly began to come back and back into our former state. Alright, so once again, all this is just learning experiences. Alright, so that we don't commit these same mistakes again. Alright, so I think I hit on everything. I think it's enough for the second part. Once again, call Halalim Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai by Shem Harakakadash or Barakatam. Alright, to be continued. I don't Ratazah, get another part out soon. Alright, Shalom.